Roll Tide, everybody, with Cruz. I'm Mick. We're going to talk about the Bama game against Oklahoma. It's not an off week, but it feels like an off week. And then it's setting up an enormous showdown in the Iron Bowl. We'll get into that, some coaching news around the SEC and some stuff that I think is going to break. All that right here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, and let's get this party started. Good to see you guys today. Good to see you too, Cruz. All right, there he is, Cruz Oxenrider. I'm Mick Gillespie. Good to see you guys. We're brought to you by Pearl River Resort. They want me to remind you that Dee Snider and Lita Ford are going to be here. That's where I'm actually at right now. They're going to be here on December 27th at 8 o'clock. Two amazing singers. I've gone and listened to some of their songs, and I'm like, man, Twisted Sister, big time. Lita Ford, did the song with Ozzy and a bunch of other really big hits. So you guys make sure that you get over here. Great way to get away from the family during the holidays, or that one uncle that you're like, man, this guy's got he rides his motorcycle on the weekend. He's got the jean jacket. What do I get this guy that's got everything that he wants? You get him tickets to Dee Snider and Lita Ford. All right, Cruz, great to see you, man. Tough game for Alabama. I mean, let's get right into it. I want your opinion. 23-21 final. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it was rough. It was definitely a very sloppy performance by this team offensively. I thought defensively, we played very well. Hillman tiered under 150 yards passing. Their leading receiver only had 34. But we just beat ourselves. We were 5 of 13 on third downs, 3 turnovers, a pick 6. We beat them in every single category except the turnover battle. We even beat them in time of possession. It just looked like I don't want to say lethargic effort on offense, but it just seems like something has been off for the last few games. And it just doesn't seem like we're nearly gelling the way we were during that win streak. So Ty was getting hit all night. I mean, it was definitely a great defensive performance by Oklahoma, not trying to take anything away from them. We saw a little bit of life in the rushing attack, finally. Daniel Hill probably solidifying that RB1 spot for the rest of the season going forward. 15 carries, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also had a big play as well in the receiving game. So I'm curious to know what the energy is going to be like the rest of this week, because yes, it does kind of feel like a bye week. You have a monster matchup that just got announced. A night game, Iron Bowl in Jordan-Hare with our season playoff hopes and SEC championship hopes on the line.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're not going to save their season, but a win over Alabama would certainly make it a lot better. And for Alabama, Auburn's, if they're not a great team, they're not even a good team, but if you make mistakes, they can beat you, and they're always tough on their home turf.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've seen the last couple years, past couple times, going back to 2021 and 2023, we were a significantly better team, had something on the line, and it comes down to, miracle plays that are going to live in Alabama history for forever, with a Bryce Young throw to Ja'Cory Brooks, and then the obviously 4th and 31 2 years ago. So I don't know, and I really hope it doesn't come down to one of those other moments as well. But I will give Auburn has a good defensive unit. They have some studs on that team. And the way that our offense has looked the last few games is a little worrisome to me. Maybe Eastern Illinois is a get-back game, get back on track. Maybe we were looking ahead. We were counting our sheep a little too early. But, I mean, it just seems like I would say till the last 2 minutes of that last drive against South Carolina, those last 2 drives against South Carolina, other than that, we've looked kind of lethargic on offense. Yeah. And maybe from a play calling standard, the first couple of weeks, we were like, wow, Grubb is this elite offensive mastermind. He's doing all these cool trick plays and concepts. Well, that's really cool and all when the offense isn't being reliant on those trick plays constantly.
Yeah, right. I think, and that's what Shank said. I mean, he was like, you got to do the basics right.
Yeah,
And I get that part of it. Like, you can do all that trick stuff, but you can't you can't miss so many blocks. I heard Grubb talking in the press conference about, when they did block right, the running backs not hitting the holes and taking advantage of it. I wonder how far AK Deer is from being able to step on the field and play with, the number one unit, because Daniel Hill's really good. Jam hasn't looked right since he took the concussion against Missouri. I hope that changes. But AK Deer, I mean, look, the dude is a phenomenal athlete. I don't know what he looks like in practice, but I'll tell you, the snippets that we've seen in games gives you, I guess, a lot of hope that eventually he's going to be a really good back.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we can hope for. I mean, is it because that, he's just not getting the snaps and the reps that he needs in practice? Is there just someone? Is it just is it just they're trying not to burn his red shirt? I mean, it kind of reminds me of like the Derrick Henry's freshman year in 2013, where we're like, okay, we see flashes of this guy, and clearly it's talented, and then we waited till the Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma, funny enough, to unleash him, and then he goes off and almost brings us back into that game single-handedly. I would love to see more AK Deer. I would actually love to see what we're going to do going forward with the running back by committee. Look, I think Daniel Hill should be getting 20, 25 carries a game. I mean, he's a big bowling ball. I mean, he averaged 4 yards a carry. I mean, he's almost impossible to stop at the goal line. I think he needs to get in the rotation more because he's just a battering ram.
Yep, he is. And for Alabama, this offense, like the offensive line taking a lot of criticism right now. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? And I mean, not that we're like offensive line experts, but
yeah,
do you feel the same way too?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it was clear. I mean, the first drive of the game, I mean, Ty's, got sacked. I mean, fighting for his life. I mean, they were hitting Ty all day. Oklahoma, we talked about it, last week at the show, the week before, that they have an elite front seven and they're going to get home. But we needed to win more than they did. And that just wasn't the case. I know that we outgained them 406 yards to 212. Ty still had 326 yards passing, but the pick six was brutal. It looked like maybe a miscommunication or a timing route with over the middle. I mean, it just seems like something is just off with it. And I did think at times the offensive line did their job. I mean, but we knew going in Oklahoma was going to get home quite a few times. I thought they played fantastic on defense and stepped up when it really mattered. I mean, honestly, the star of the show for us last week was Josh Cuevas. I mean, he was the best receiver we had by a mile. I mean, he has a walk-in touchdown, wasn't even touched, and then on the trick play again. I mean, there's also another play where he is wide open down the sideline that he would have walked in for another one. So there are a lot of missed opportunities. No disrespect and not taking anything away from Oklahoma, but I walked out of that game thinking Alabama beat themselves, not Oklahoma beat Alabama. Yeah.
No, they did. Look, and I got to give Oklahoma credit. I mean, that's what you do. I mean, you go in there. Look, Oklahoma's not better than Alabama when it comes to offense, when you put the whole unit together, but they played a game that was better than Alabama. They didn't make mistakes. Their offense wouldn't have been able to drive the ball down the field and score 23 points. If Bama would have played smart and conservative, this is a game they probably would have won, somewhere in the tune of 14-9. I mean, you know what? I just feel like we didn't really get a vibe of what type of game we were stepping into. And in a game like that, it's a field position game. Coach Saban was so smart when it comes to understanding what type of a game you're in and being able to kind of attack it that way. You don't play. It's like anything else. Like you don't approach it the same way all the time. And this was one where we probably should have just played smart and made them make a play because they wouldn't have never made one on offense. This was a giveaway game. And it kind of leads us to Eastern Illinois this week, night game and the Iron Bowl. in 2 weeks, and the season's on the line. You win, you go to Atlanta, you lose, and you don't have anything. And you go to Atlanta in the college football playoff.
Yeah. I mean, it is a little concerning. We were, I was kind of hoping that, hey, if we did have our mulligan game that we did lose, it was in the Iron Bowl and, we'd still be safe. But like I said, we had something on the line. We did come through with it. I am so nervous for this game, not just because what is on the line, but the future that it can hold if we don't make the playoffs again for the coaching staff, DeBoer, the rest, the outlook of the team. I mean, going from basically a bona fide lock for the college football playoffs to now, okay, now we're starting to sweat a little bit, because if we don't win against Auburn, I don't see the college football playoff committee putting us in the playoffs with having 2 really bad losses against a bad Florida State team to start the week or to start the season, and then losing to a bad Auburn team to end the season. That's
we're not getting in. No, we're playing in like the Cheez-It Bowl or the Pop-Tarts Bowl or something like that. We're not. It is such a swing game.
Yeah.
And then it kind of leads me to this too. And that is, what would the future for Kalen DeBoer be if for the second straight year his team craps out at the end of the season?
I mean, we're going to be in uncharted waters when it comes to this. Something we haven't dealt with in a long time is I don't think they would, pull the trigger and, tell them to hit the road and split ways. But I mean, there's going to be a lot of people in that fan base, boosters, a lot of former players, a lot of fans that are going to be like, hey, this guy doesn't have it. We handed you the keys to a Ferrari. You've driven it like a Honda Accord. So, I mean.
I have an Accord.
Yeah. Well, and it ain't a Ferrari.
I know.
And so it is going to be interesting. Look, he can save this season by beating Auburn. Because I think even if we go to Atlanta and we do lose to A&M, they won't keep the runner-up in the SEC out. Even with a third loss, they will still keep us into the college football playoffs.
No, both teams get in.
Yeah, so there's so much on the line, and my worry is we've seen how DeBoer has played against unranked teams on the road the last 2 years, and that's what makes me nervous. I know there's a lot more on the line than there was in week 1. However, though, this Auburn team, and you know this as well as I do, this would make their year if they stopped. They stopped us from going to Atlanta, stopped us going to the playoffs, and who knows, maybe stop the DeBoer era.
Yeah, well, I don't think that Kalen DeBoer would get fired. I mean, I think he'd be on the hot seat, but I can't imagine even if Auburn blew us out that they would get rid of him. I mean, I thought the Oklahoma game was a tough loss, but I don't have a problem with that loss compared to Florida State. Florida State to me was an effort thing. This one was just you made some mistakes. Bama's the better team. And now as a coach, he's got to figure out how to get these guys locked in. We were so spoiled with Coach Saban because he was a master at using these opportunities. And then once he got a team kind of going in the right direction, he was able to kind of maintain that. But that's why there's only one of him and everybody else is kind of different, right?
Yeah. I mean, and also too, you got to realize, all right, this is DeBoer's first loss at home. This is the third loss for us since 2019 at home. These games unfortunately do happen. Like I said, and if you go back and look at those games that we lost in those 3-game stretch, we committed turnovers against arguably one of the best college football teams of all time in 2019 LSU. Yeah. And then Texas, we killed ourselves on penalties, had 3 touchdowns called back, and still, was in that game, had the lead in the fourth quarter. So I thought that Oklahoma's defense made enough plays, and we didn't. I mean, look, the field goal, kicking is just atrocious. I mean, look, I understand there's a lot that went on that high snap, but hey, he got it down. Like, that was a great job by our holder to get that snap down, and that was a chip shot field goal.
I'm sick of him.
I mean, no, it's true. I mean, and plus not to mention, it's such a bad look to dog your teammate out like that. Like on the field in the middle of a game. Like really, like it would be one thing if you're like Will Riker and you haven't missed a kick all year and that's what did it for you. But you've been so inconsistent all year. There's a reason why that we didn't try and kick a game-winning field goal against South Carolina for that exact reason. So if I'll put it like this, if the Iron Bowl comes down to a late field goal and he's the one on the line, I am going to have an anxiety attack.
They should have went out and got somebody. They did a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We knew coming into this season, Shank reminded me before game even started, I said, we're not addressing the kicker situation. And being a long-time Bama OG, I've seen this shit before.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it again. We got a guy he's not consistent enough. And this is the kind of guy that can cost you games. And you lost by 2. If he makes a field goal, they're not going down to beat us. No, I'm sorry. They just did. They did. There's no way that John Mateer and all that. If we made them drive 80 yards to beat us, they're not doing it.
No,
but because we couldn't make a chip shot at the end of the first half after all the mistakes, and there were a lot of mistakes to go around. It's not just a blame on him, but it's just it is what it is. The guy's inconsistent. I hope he figures it out. I hope he's pissed off and he works his ass off and he gets it figured out.
Yeah, I mean, it's moments like that you're gonna look back and hindsight's 2020 saying like, hey, like that kicks, why we lost the game. I mean, there are multiple reasons why we lost that game, not just that, but
right.
It is the running game and then the inconsistency of field goal kicking is what terrifies me. Come time towards the of next, down the road of these next few games, like, okay, if it comes down, and we saw this a few years ago, 2019, came down to a chip shot field goal. What did they do? Rattle off, and we never bounced back with that. We've seen it cost us games multiple times throughout it. I mean, we were spoiled with Will Riker. Like, thank God bless Will Riker, but we desperately need to address that in the offseason. And I understand now why we are going for it more on fourth down this year than I've ever seen. I understand.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what you have to. You're in that spot where you have to do that. So we'll see. They got 2 weeks to get ready. Auburn had an extra week off. I think it's bullshit that the SEC allows all these opponents like Oklahoma and all these other teams that are going to play Alabama to have a week off. Didn't LSU have a week off before they played Alabama too?
They did.
Did Georgia have a week off before they played Alabama? I mean, like, what's the deal?
Georgia had a week off. Missouri had a week off. I believe. Yeah, LSU did as well. So,
I mean, how's this fair? You guys want to set up these an NFL style league, but then you're going to let every opponent of one of the best teams that's in your conference have a week off beforehand, and you're not going to do anything about it? It's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's been this way for a while too. I mean, we've always had the bye week before LSU. I mean, that's always been kind of matched up. And then if you looked at the last 2 years, we've had the matchup with Georgia, us both having a bye week as well. And then and then after that is you just start to see like, okay, we've caught like 3 teams in a row coming off of a bye week or a cupcake game.
Not an accident.
No, it's absolutely not an accident.
Why isn't there off week before they play Mississippi State or Kentucky? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the SEC ought to be ashamed of itself for allowing that to happen because it's a competitive advantage for the team that gets the week off, just from a health standpoint, from a game management standpoint. And Nick Saban could manage that. He was the best ever. I don't know. I mean, you think I should? I mean, am I wrong here for saying this?
No. I mean, I think you need more competitive balance in your conference. I mean, you look at these other schools, up north that are getting to play, 2-7 Rutgers or, all these other squads while we're, playing. What would this be? This would be our 7th ranked game that we played this year. Georgia. Yeah. Wisconsin, Georgia, Tennessee, Vandy, Missouri. And so this one. So 6. I'm sorry, Wisconsin wasn't ranked, but yeah. So we played honestly, I think we have played, if not the most or close to the most ranked games out of anyone in college football this season. I think Georgia, it's like us, Georgia. I think Florida was up there as well. So it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a tough schedule. And it's not fair that the teams that you're going to play are all going to be healthy, rested, get a chance to sit around and watch you play. And you're going to just keep on grinding it out. I mean, they had 5 straight games in a row, 4 straight against ranked teams. LSU was a tough game, believe it or not. And then, Tennessee was a tough game. You slip up against Oklahoma. Now you got to get ready for Auburn. All right, let's talk about some other things going on. And it's like I feel like it's Halloween, like you're going in and out of the darkness over there. It's like you're kind of like Lane Kiffin, who's dipping in and out of the shadows on this job at Ole Miss. What the hell is this guy going to do? Is he going to Florida? Is he going to LSU? And before we get there, I want to tell you a couple things, guys. First off, Mick Nation, hit that QR code right now. AveD, you get to pick the Bama games, NFL games. We're giving away swag, weekly cash prizes. That's our Web3 home. We'll eventually have a store on there. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for Mick Nation. And I'm Mick, so I guess that's why I didn't name that. But I'm not saying I don't like the name. I'm just saying I didn't name it. And then the other thing I want to do is have a little bit of fun with Kalshi while you and I are talking about this, because I think that this is a great way to kind of just see where the markets are on this Lane Kiffin situation, because it's fluid and it's really interesting. Kalshi's legal in all 50 states. It's got better odds because it's an exchange. It's not betting for say, but no house vig, no prices set up by prices are set up by supply and demand. Winners don't get cut off, not blocked mid game. Cash out early anytime. Watch odds move over time, and it's politics, economy, Oscars, grammars, government shutdowns, and one of the things you can bet on there when it was coming back. And the reason I'm pulling all of this up is I'm going to ask you this question, and then we're going to see what the markets say. But give us kind of an update on what's going on with Lane Kiffin, and do you think that he's going to end up at LSU?
Yeah, so quite a bit's happened that's come out today. So, reports confirm that Lane Kiffin's family was in Baton Rouge today, checking out schools. They were apparently in Gainesville yesterday, Sunday, doing the same thing. And now Ole Miss is now wanting Lane to basically tell him, like, hey, are you in or are you out? And they actually given him a deadline to decide. It says right here, according to The Athletic, head coach Lane Kiffin must decide future with the team before November 28th matchup against Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. So Ole Miss is, I'd say they're going to the college football playoffs. I think they are one of the best teams in the country. The one loss that they have is to Georgia in the last minute game. So if I'm Lane, why would I leave what I built at Ole Miss? Ole Miss was a joke before Lane Kiffin got there for years. Mm-hmm. And he's rebuilt that into one of the best teams and most consistent teams in the SEC for the last couple of years. And you are one game away. It's a bad Mississippi State team from going to Ole Miss's first college football playoffs. They will build a statue for you there. Now, yeah. I mean, I get it. LSU and Florida are really hard jobs to say no to. And Lane Kiffin, I think at LSU would be the best fit for him, personality-wise, recruiting-wise. I think he would do really well there. But there's a lot of people thought Brian Kelly would do well there. It's a tough thing. I personally don't think he should leave. I know the numbers are probably going to say he's going because normally your family's not taking private jets to another college town, while the middle of the season's going on. So
right.
It's a very unique and odd situation, but also good for Ole Miss's athletic department being like, hey, look, we're not doing this whole coaching carousel thing again. Look, are you in or are you out? Mm-hmm. So, and then from there, who's going to take over for Lane Kiffin? If he's not going to coach the Egg Bowl, is Pete Golding going to take over for them? Like, you're going to have Pete Golding be the interim head coach?
Good question. I do have this. Kalshi and the markets say that Lane Kiffin is 31% chance to be the next coach at LSU. It was at one point today, it was up to 40%. So now all of a sudden it's taken a dip, and Joe Brady is starting to make a run here as we speak. Which is
I
crazy.
like the Joe Brady. I think Joe Brady would be a good one. I mean, I'm still high on Summerall. I mean, I still think that's the smartest decision for LSU, personally. I know we talked about that last time. Like, get a guy who, look what he's built at Tulane down in New Orleans, and he understands the Louisiana recruiting. I think that's the safest. I think that's the safest hire. It reminds me of a Tim Elko hire at A&M just a few years ago, and look how that's paying off.
All right, well, here's the other one, and this one's really interesting because all of a sudden Lane is on fire to become the next coach at Florida, and it's up to 67% right now. He's up 10% here. I mean, on this, which this is fluent. You know, when we're recording the show, I mean, it could be a lot different by the time that you guys go. And don't forget, use promo code Bama Tailgate, $10 when you sign up with our code and trade at least $100. So you get 10 and free to go ahead and do that. Or would you put your money on Lane Kiffin to Florida? I'm going to tell you, I would. I think he's going to Florida. I think when it's all said and done, yeah.
Okay.
When it's all said and done, he'll be the next coach in Florida.
See, yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think too. I think that it's the most realistic. I think personally, if Lane was going to go somewhere, I would go to LSU, just for the culture fit and recruiting, and that that swagger personality that he has, that the LSU fans pride themselves on. I mean, Florida, I feel like would probably be the safer job, just because one, he has recruited in Florida before, back when he was at FAU. He knows that. I just think he knows that market very well. I think he would do really well at Florida. I just have such a hard time believing he's going to go anywhere. I think at the end of the day, I'm still putting my money on that he's staying at Ole Miss. I really am. I think it's going to be at the 11th hour, because let's be real. We know that Lane Kiffin loves attention.
He does.
And I think, how epic would it be? Thanksgiving Day, all of a sudden we get an ESPN notification, Lane Kiffin to stay at Ole Miss the day before the Egg Bowl. And I think that would just get the people going. I think his team would be inspired. I also think that'd be awesome going into the playoffs. But if I did have to put my money on a team that he's going to go to, if he were to leave, it's Florida. Yeah,
that's what I think. He's going to Florida. I think he's out of Ole Miss. Hey, guys, look at that. The crispy screen. That's Caden Proctor's amazing moment, making the catch against Georgia and another Alabama win over the Dogs. Here's Shank to tell you about the deal that we have, and this is the only place you're getting this right now, 25% off a brand new print that hasn't even been released yet.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is now accepting pre-orders for Daniel A. Moore's next Crimson Classic, the Crispy Screen, guys. What a name to commemorate the Fat Boys. This masterwork commemorates the screen pass to Caden Proctor that outsmarted Kirby and the Georgia defense. Proctor's catch and bulldog dozing run set up Ty Simpson's 3-yard touchdown just before the half, which was a big score for us, guys. Visit DanielMooreArt.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of a special pre-publication pricing for the Crispy Screen. Go ahead, get into that. Go get you one of those Caden Proctor prints. I'm super excited to get mine in because he's living a dream of all the Fat Boys. And go look up that Crispy Screen and get you one, guys.
There it is, Crispy Screen. All right, last topic on today's show with you, Cruz, and it's good to see you back home after a long day of travel. Oh, yeah. How about James Franklin to Virginia Tech? I thought that this was going to be Shane Beamer. I figured he was going to follow his dad. Do you think that the reason that they decided to go this direction was because of the 27-point debacle that, they blew a 27-point lead on Saturday, South Carolina, at Texas A&M? Or do you think that this was in the works and it's just kind of a coincidence?
No, I mean, look, that blowout bluntly definitely didn't help. But I think this is a very solid hire for Virginia Tech. I had heard that, this was going to be like the guy they wanted. They wanted him because it didn't sound like they were going to move off Beamer at South Carolina. And I don't know if Beamer would have gone to Virginia Tech, even if the job was, offered to him. I think Virginia Tech, I think college football is better when Virginia Tech's good. I think Enter Sandman is an elite tradition. I've gotten a chance to go to a game there before. It's a great atmosphere with incredibly passionate fans who they've been down for a while. I think James Franklin, I don't think he ever should have been the head coach of Penn State. I know he was good at Vanderbilt. I thought that Penn State job was way too much for him to get, and he just never lived up to the hype there. I think this is a great fit for him, a great restart for him. I think he's in a much easier conference. And, there are people, who in the state of Virginia and West Virginia that want to be a Hokie and that grow up wanting to be a Virginia Tech Hokie. And I think this would be a great refresh for him. I'm excited to watch Virginia Tech going forward. James Franklin can recruit really well. So I expect him to, land some guys in the transfer portal, start building those, those mid-20 recruiting classes for Virginia Tech and make a run in a couple of years. So I actually love this hire. I love this hire more than if they would have got Shea Beamer.
Yeah, I think it's a good hire too. And if I would have been Auburn, I probably would have jumped all over James Franklin. I think he's a good coach. Some of you guys disagree. But you know what? The other thing is that maybe he's a good coach, but you got to be a great coach in this day and age. And we'll see if that's something that he's going to be able to kind of change between now and then. Hey, guys, and Cruz, you too, man. Come to the Floor Bama and hang out with us. We're doing the show from the Floor Bama, the Iron Bowl show, November 28th, 1 to 3. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We had a great time the last few weeks at Innisfree. But think about that, Cruz. Have you ever been there before, the Floor Bama? That iconic bar down on the line, Perdido Key. Can you imagine?
I've had quite a few nights at that bar, and I love the best bushwhackers you'll ever have.
They're amazing.
I am gladly spending my Thanksgiving with my family. First one I've done in a few years, where it's just going to be me and my family. So been on the road now I think I was on the road for 20 straight days. So I'm really glad to finally be home. Tuscaloosa was incredible. LSU, Oklahoma, Purdue basketball. I mean, it truly was just an awesome, few weeks in Tuscaloosa. But I will be watching the Iron Bowl with my bar cart to the left of me and, with a few stress balls.
We'll be doing the show there, and then we'll probably be doing the same thing for the Iron Bowl, trying not to stress out too much. Guys, we're at Pearl River Resort right now. Jake and I are down here cutting our next commercial, really his next commercial. I'm just a part of his world that we're all living in right now. It should be a lot of fun. Just kidding. Now, he's such a fantastic actor. Like, I saw him working this commercial I'm about to play you guys, and I'm like, man, this guy's pretty good. But anyway, look, Pearl River Resort, it's an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. You're talking about the Azaleas, the Oaks, 2 amazing golf courses here. It's the Augusta you can play, Philip M. Steakhouse. I'm actually going to the Bistro here in just a second to meet some friends. You got the Circle Bar, Golden Moon, the Timeout Sports Lounge, where you can, just like in Vegas, you can legally gamble on anything. And it's just fun. They got everything you need here at Pearl River Resort. Cruz, anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
No, definitely, check out the show, make sure you subscribe, and then, check out Back Then Sports as well, your daily dose of sports nostalgia. Dude, we're going to start having some really good clips pop up. So this was actually the anniversary of ULM beating Alabama in Bryant-Denny. Today is.
Shank brings that up a lot because he knows I hate them. And part of the reason is that they taunted us with a billboard going to Shreveport, Louisiana. And I thought, if I ever get in this spot, I'm never going to let them forget. And I loved watching us beat them 73-0, but I wish it was 100-0. I'll never forget that. It ended up being a calling card for Nick Saban, but I didn't know that. It's crazy. All right, that's Cruz. I'm Mick. Thank you guys. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Brought to you by Pearl River Resort. And we'll talk to you. Hey, we got Chris Lowe coming up later this week. And we'll hear from Jake Coker later this week. And then, of course, the tailgate show is going to be at Innisfree this Friday, 1 to 3, when Jake and I record for the final time in Tuscaloosa, unless there's a playoff game. Roll Tide, everybody.
I may not suit up on Saturdays anymore, but I'm still in the game.
Let's roll.
In here, I call the plays, make adjustments, and lay it on the line. Want to feel that fire, that rush? Then you've got to get in the game. I used to say it in the tunnel, and I still say it now. Let's roll.